first of all, what kind of mythical powers does a Sun Devil have? We got to consider that.
Y'all don't remember the Georgia Southern game, do you?
You know, I hope there's Bigfoot. I don't think there is.
Like rat poison. All right, so
It's Division One football. It ain't intramurals.
All right, welcome back to the Hoppy Huddle podcast. My name's Jake, that's Ed, and today we've got a giant show for you guys today. The Huddle on your YouTube recap next year. Yes, everybody get your YouTube recaps in. Make sure you watch, tune into every Huddle, and you can get your Huddle on your YouTube recap.
Yes, we need to build that up. So,
yes, today we've got a huge show, a lot going on, a big show. We've got, what are we talking? We are talking conference championship previews. We are talking about the college football playoff rankings and the atrocity that is. And then we'll touch on a little bit of National Signing Day towards the end. You ready?
Oh yeah, it's this sport, man. This sport gives this week, man. It's like Christmas all wrapped into one. It's been nonstop for like a week now. You can't get away from your phone for a second because the news is constantly breaking.
Nope. No, you cannot.
I mean, I guess before we get to the rankings, we did have some more coaching news. First of all,
we should talk about coaching. I don't even know if I'll be able to remember all of it. I should have made a list.
Well, I feel like I should have gotten some crumble cookies out tonight. But no, I mean the biggest shock. I think we got a shocker today. Kleiman retiring.
Oh yeah, State. I didn't see that coming. I thought he had like probably 4 or 5 more years.
He's 59. I don't think anybody really saw that coming. But it's no surprise that Colin Klein, who's the OC,
everybody knew he was the heir apparent there.
Well, he went there. He was a great quarterback there. I remember when he played.
He was the OC there in 2022, and before that, like he was always going to come home whenever that job opened.
Yeah, and so that seems. The last thing I read is the deal's not done yet, but I think that's probably just semantics. I think they're getting that thing done. So yeah, I thought that was kind of surprising. I just wonder if maybe could it be health? I mean, maybe he's just tired. Maybe, who knows? I mean, 59 is still kind of young in this coaching business.
K-State's also fallen off a little bit, so maybe there's that kind of retire at the right time. If he goes on for 3 or 4 more years, like who knows?
Yeah. So I thought that was just a little bit of a surprise, but it was no surprise that didn't last long. So the other one was Heartline. We mentioned Heartline the other night when talking about the Kentucky job.
Yeah.
But USF, that actually feels like, I mean, my first reaction was that feels like a good fit for him because he kind of gets to a different region. He can recruit Florida.
Can you imagine Brian Heartline with Florida wide receivers? Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah, I think he'll probably do okay there, and they'll probably set him up for another job.
Yeah, did USF make the steal hire of the cycle? Because I'm surprised like a Power 5 job didn't come calling for Heartline.
And maybe he wants to cut his teeth at that one first and kind of get going. Maybe I don't know. You don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
Maybe he's a little more Sumrall like and wants to set everything up and prepare himself and all that. But.
So I think that was a pretty good hire for USF. I think it keeps their program in good shape. And they open a new stadium, I believe, right? Don't they get a new? Yeah. So
maybe
we'll
have the newest stadium in college football next year, I think.
Yeah. So I think that was a pretty good hire. But other than that, then of course Penn State, Sataki. When we talked the other night, it looked like maybe Sataki might go to Penn State.
That's not the case anymore. He re-upped in a tearful speech and. BYU, the big money came out for Sataki at BYU. And from what I've read, Kalani got guarantees from the BYU community and the university that they're going to start spending at Texas Tech levels. And like they have really taking Sataki away. It really invigorated several big money boosters around the BYU program. And they already have the 5-star quarterback Ryder Lyons coming in.
Yeah.
You're going to start to see them making plays. That region of the country is growing, by the way. Idaho and Utah, it's just kind of like the Mormon belt, is increasing in population. That is a growing area, especially they can recruit Arizona as well. You're going to start seeing BYU really up their recruiting in the transfer portal and spending to new levels. And they've got commitments for that to keep Sataki, along with a big contract for him. It's not just the contract; it's also the spending codes because he wants to be competitive at a national level. And if BYU spends like Texas Tech, they can be.
Yeah. So it just leaves us right now. We've got going Penn State. Like, what is going on there? The rumblings are the donors want Terry Smith, the longtime assistant. Pat Kraft wants. Oh gosh, why is this escaping me at the moment?
The interim. I heard the interim is being pushed by a lot of people.
By the donors. That's Terry Smith. No. Pat Kraft wants somebody else. I try to remember. It's escaping me at the moment.
Who does he want?
What's that?
I don't know. Who does he want?
Somebody else. But it's just. I mean, Penn State has fallen. The recruiting, the class completely obliterated. They don't have a class. This is bad for Penn State.
Oh, it's horrible. Yeah, and there's rumblings behind.
Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll.
Oh,
Brian
Daboll. Yeah.
That's who it is. So
there's rumblings behind the scenes that a couple people who are in the know have been talking about, which is that Jimmy Sexton really didn't like how the AD there, Pat Kraft, fired him Franklin in the middle of the season like that, pretty rashly, compared to a lot of other coaching firings which are kind of done on a timeline.
Yeah.
And Kraft is not a Sexton client as an AD. And so I think, like, from what people are saying is that Jimmy Sexton is kind of blackballing Penn State from getting interviews with any of the coaches that he represents or has influence over, because people forget he just because he doesn't officially represent a lot of coaches, he runs that world. He is the king agent, and he talks to all the other agents, and he knows all these people, and it's a big network. And if Jimmy Sexton doesn't want you going somewhere, you don't go. And someone tweeted, did we see the Penn State football program get the death penalty via agent? And it's not quite, but they're basically got death penalty levels of recruiting right now.
Yeah. It's bad. Their recruiting is bad right now. They're going to lose a year, and that's harder to come back.
Basically the death penalty for a year. They're going to lose a year of individual players.
Yeah, maybe you make up for it a little bit on that. The signing day in February, you get a little out of the portal, but that's tough to recover. So
yeah,
at Penn State's level,
it's gonna be brutal.
All right, that was just a brief coaching news. We got to get into this ranking thing. I mean,
boy, we're gonna disagree about this. I already know.
You already got the text from me last night, and I mean, you and I disagree. The smoke coming from my ears last night.
Oh goodness gracious!
Here
we go.
So, where do we start? I mean, nothing much changed to the top. Texas A&M dropped because they dropped 4 slots, and everybody else above them, the 4 above them, slotted up.
Yep.
Now, my first issue is Ole Miss. Okay, I know they went 11-1, didn't play the toughest schedule, but man, your coaches got fired. Why aren't they getting the Florida State treatment? I mean, Florida State lost a player. Ole Miss lost their head coach. They're in disarray. Why aren't they getting a little more Florida State treatment?
Okay. I don't think we should be arguing for the Florida State treatment. Okay. The Florida State treatment was wrong. Two wrongs don't make a right. I'm not going to propose that we give the Florida State treatment to another school just because Florida State got screwed. Okay.
All right. Well, then I'll give you that one real quick. Still pisses me off. All right.
Fair. I understand being mad at the inconsistency, but I'm not going to.
It's ridiculous because if the logos
they
were
went 11-1, I think they should be where they are.
It's because they got that little patch on their chest. That little patch says 3 letters SEC on.
Now you want to make an argument that BYU should be right up there with Ole Miss. I agree with you.
We're going to get there,
but that's a different argument.
But the one that irritated me to no end, and I about threw something at my nice big screen.
I know what you're going to say.
How does Bama jump Notre Dame a spot? What did Bama show last weekend? Bama barely beat a team that's not even going to a bowl game.
Auburn team.
A bum Auburn team. I mean, you have got to be kidding me. This was the most jerry-rigged, convoluted. I mean, this was the clearest sign. If Kirk Herbstreit might as well have announced it, and just said, "Hey, God bless the SEC." Unbelievable. They did nothing to deserve. Did you hear the excuses he made? Well, they played a 5-7 rival and they had a good first half. What? Notre Dame blew out Stanford And Jeremiah Love was injured in the game halfway through.
Is a rival, Stanford, by the way.
Well, oh yeah, exactly. I mean, unfreaking believable. They are setting this up so that no matter what happens on Saturday, Bama's in this thing. And that's what they did. They cherry-picked this. This is complete and utter garbage. Yeah, they got the patch. You're right. They got the patch on the jersey too. I mean, I about lost it last night when I saw this. I mean, I texted. I mean, look at this Bama team. They beat 20. This is the same Bama team beat Auburn 20-0. Remember, a couple weeks ago, Auburn lost to Kentucky. And this is the same Kentucky team that got blasted by Louisville. I mean, let's just start going through this. This makes no sense. All right, I'm done. I can go on and on. I'm
all right.
So mad.
So my opinion is this is clearly wrong and ridiculous and a farce. But I'm not surprised because this whole thing has been a farce.
It's the SEC Invitational. I told you about this the whole time.
No, okay. It's not the SEC Invitational. All right. They're right there with two. Look, they're smack in the middle of two other 10-2 teams. I bifurcate the committee's decisions because the people will track it week to week, which is, I think, the problem that we have. Because I think in a vacuum, if you just ranked the teams this week, there's a perfectly fine argument to put Alabama above Notre Dame, because I think Notre Dame's schedule has been Notre Dame's record and their strength of record is incredibly weak. Their only win is the USC game of any consequence, right? And they lost to the two other good teams they played. So I think there's a fair argument to put Alabama above Notre Dame. Now, the timing of it and the way that this came about and the whole thing of setting it up so that Bama won't be as obviously is true and a farce and ridiculous. But I think the problem is that the committee releases these rankings week to week, and then they compare the rankings week to week. And so they're forced to do this like movement when they they make mistakes or they do this or they do that. I'm not necessarily arguing that Bama should be there, but I say there is an argument to put Bama there. They're not above.
The issue is you can't compare. The problem is they're missing the wrong comparison here. They don't have Miami compared to Alabama because Miami and Alabama have a common
right. That's what I was about to say. Is like the problem I don't have is Bama and Notre Dame there. The problem I have is with Notre Dame still being ranked over BYU and Miami.
Miami and Bama. You want to leave Bama at 10-2 and make an argument? That's fine. But Miami ought to be there right with them. They have a common opponent. Miami destroyed Florida State.
Miami and BYU should be over Notre Dame.
And Bama.
Oh,
Bama's
Miami should be over. Well,
Bama's win.
I don't know.
A lot of Bama's wins look not as good in hindsight. They were propped up SEC teams.
True. They beat Georgia, though. They did beat Georgia.
They beat Georgia. That's it. They beat Georgia.
Look, you can make an argument between Miami and Bama. It's not really the argument that we're having, but like that's debatable. Okay.
Yeah.
There is no excuse for Miami being behind Notre Dame. There's no excuse.
None.
There's zero argument that you can make.
And BYU's getting destroyed. And
by the way, BYU has the number 6 overall strength of record. That's the extra weighting that the SEC was supposed to take into effect this year about strength of schedule. The strength of record is how you did against your strength of schedule, right? Number 6. That's one of these advanced metrics that the SEC, insisted they put in here. And by the way, BYU has a better strength of record than Notre Dame, Alabama, and Oklahoma.
Yeah. And here's what's going to happen on Saturday. Texas Tech will win because I think Texas Tech's a better team.
Yes.
And BYU is going to get left out. And then –
But I will – okay. If they lose twice to Texas Tech, I'm fine with them being out. I'm okay with that.
Well, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, but then Miami should jump a slide. And then
what's going to happen is that Miami and Notre Dame are going to be right next to each other, and they're going to use the head-to-head, and Miami's going to get in.
They better. First of all, hats off to the ACC network for replaying the Miami Notre Dame game
that was
13
so funny.
times this Friday.
I saw that, and I was dying. They literally just replaying Miami Notre Dame on the ACC network over and over and over again.
Spamming on every channel. That is awesome, ACC. Hats off for you doing something. This is, and I mean, you and I have disagreed about this for 8 months now, And I'm telling you, the ACC and the Big 12 were fools. They should have gone along with the Big Ten.
You can't put in institutionalized disadvantages like that.
They already have them. They're already there. It's just at least then
you can't admit that.
But you know what? Miami would be in the playoff now if they didn't have it. So would BYU. We wouldn't be arguing about this. They're going to get screwed over by the Big Ten and the SEC every single year. At least if these conferences had 2 guaranteed slots, Miami would be in, and there'd be the winner of a Virginia, Duke, or whoever. You would have 2 teams in, and these teams will at least have a chance. They're not going to have a chance because the people in that room, those suits, do not. They want to put brands in.
The ACC is not in because it's a bad conference this year. Okay.
It doesn't matter. Every year they're going to find a reason to do this. Every year they find a reason to jump.
The ACC is actually very bad in the non-conference here. Like the power rankings all have them pretty low. Like football-wise, the ACC is in a down year. And look, the SEC was a down year last year, right?
Okay,
and that happens. But that's why the ACC is not going to get 2 teams.
I don't want to hear anything about how good the SEC is this year. UK got destroyed by Louisville. Arkansas lost to Memphis. Florida lost to USF. Tennessee and Auburn didn't beat a team with a win. They just went bowling. Okay. Missouri's only win over a bowl team was what? Was Louisiana. Tennessee didn't beat a Power 4 team with a winning record. Same with Missouri. There is no this SEC they're so great this year. The top teams beat up on a lot of bad teams this year. And that's how they got to their 10-2 marks.
Yeah, I think the SEC has a better 3 through 5 than any other conference. But
we don't know. Texas A&M has played nobody all year. They played nobody in that conference. That's how they got to 11-1.
Yeah, I mean they beat Notre Dame.
Here's the problem. Here's the real problem.
They beat Notre Dame. That's a good.
We've got this SEC legend that was built off one person, Nick Saban. If Nick Saban had never existed,
and LSU and Florida,
no,
and Georgia,
LSU may have won a championship. Florida would have won a couple of championships.
Georgia.
But for 15 years, Nick Saban terrorized the world, and he brought along the rest of the conference with him. If that hadn't happened, you'd have had a few Big Ten championships,
Why didn't that happen with Clemson then?
Because there was nobody else in the conference. I mean, there wasn't another. And when Nick Saban won 7 championships. He brought along this mythology that everything the SEC touches is the hottest thing.
The SEC programs have more programs that generate enough revenue to compete for national titles than any other.
Talk about revenue. We're living on mythology now, man. These teams haven't won national championship in like 1,000 days.
Look, you're gonna make me defend the SEC here with your nonsense.
I know. I want you to say it. I wouldn't read it all them to hear it. Come on, you're an SEC homer.
I'm not SEC. I'm a Big 12 homer. What are you talking about?
Yeah, well.
You see the shirt I'm wearing? Baylor Bears. We suck.
Anyway, I can't wait for these SEC teams to go get beat by Texas Tech and Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon in playoffs.
And if that happens, which may happen, then exactly my point. But
I may have to root for Notre Dame in the playoff if they make it. My gosh, what is this world coming to?
Okay. I don't understand your aversion to admitting that the SEC has an elite lineup of programs.
I think they have. I think they are always one of the best conferences. I think they get overrated every year and they get propped up. These seedings would look differently if you had objective people look at some of these rectors. I mean, they're just not the same. I think they're all overseeded. I think the only one
there's a clear division in the SEC between programs that can compete at the highest level and programs that do not. And the programs that the SEC has more programs that can than any other conference. Now, the programs that cannot in the SEC are just like the programs that cannot in any other conference. The Arkansas,
I think they all get the benefit of an extra
win. I think
win.
The SEC has top tier programs and they have top tier coaching. Kirby Smart, Alabama, Kalen Boyd, do I need to go down the list?
I'm not arguing resources up. My argument is these things, they don't live up. This is a different world now. They don't live up to the same hype anymore. And it's not Nick Saban anymore. These programs do not live up.
It's not that different of a world. The best recruits all still go to the majority SEC schools.
All right, we'll get to it.
There's a reason that the USC signed the first
trash this year. They can't. Have you seen them the last month? They can't beat anybody with a decent record.
I'm sorry. There are 2 sides of the ball in the game of football, and Oklahoma is elite at one of them.
Okay, they
have an elite defense.
They can't do anything off. I hope UVA draws them in the pool because I think UVA has a
fine.
shot
Oklahoma has elite players on defense. They'd hardly be the first team to be half a team.
All right. Well, all right, SEC.
There's a reason. There's a reason why the last 19 number one recruiting classes were signed by SEC
I want to
teams.
talk power ratings. I want to talk this year on the field. SEC is getting the benefit of the doubt they don't deserve because
that is the true statement. That right there, what you just said.
Getting the benefit of Nick Saban for 15 years dragging this conference on.
I disagree with that. They are getting the benefit of the doubt that they don't deserve this year. I agree with that statement.
And they got it last year, and they're going to keep getting it because they control the media. Jimmy Sexton, Nick Saban, and the ESPN contract control everything, and that's why the Big 10, Big 12, and the ACC are getting screwed. End of story.
Okay, I agree with about half of what you're saying. Okay, but I just you're taking it another step that I can't back up with. All right, because the difference is, look at Texas Tech. As soon as they elevated their program, they're right at number 4. 11-1, number 4, right? They moved right up. They're ahead of Oregon. They're ahead of the other 11-1 SEC teams, right? And so the SEC has so many of those programs that have elevated, all right? And if the Big 12, if programs in the Big 12 step up and elevate, then they will get there.
They're never going to allow that many people to join the party. They'll allow one party crash.
Indiana stepped up and elevated. Look at them.
Indiana's a Big 10 team. Different story.
Right. That's my point. That's not the SEC.
But no. The Big 10 teams can do that because they've got money, and they will. And they'll allow.
The SEC teams have money.
You're never going to see a situation there's going to be 5 Big 12 teams in that top 10 or 12. Never in a million years, Jake. Never.
You don't know what could happen.
They will never allow.
You don't know what could happen.
Crazy.
You never know the future.
They can't control the Big 10. They understand that. And Indiana, they didn't want to let Indiana in last year. This year, they've got no choice because they're just kicking everybody.
They got no choice. Here's a solution. I've got an idea. All right. If you want to make the playoff, win all your games.
Okay. They're trying to force Texas into it at 9-3.
No one's trying to force Texas into it. Texas is trying to force Texas. Texas is trying to force Texas in it. Nobody is trying to force Texas into it.
Oh, okay.
Texas will not get in there. I agree with Reed more than I agree with you. The preseason rankings, the preseason rankings are more of an influence than the conferences. Okay.
The big media, man, big SEC, ESPN, man, they're ruining everything.
Yeah, the preseason rankings are an issue.
They are.
Yeah, and it's not just the conferences.
All right. Well, let's turn. I think we should. You and I never agree on this. We fight about this all the time.
Look, we agree about 50%. I'm not going the extra mile there.
Yeah, you just don't have the 10. You don't see the tinfoil hat. You'll get it on one day. You'll see.
I have tinfoil hats on, but not about this.
All right. Well, let's go to conference preview. So basically, we've got to set up for. There's still some interesting things that could happen, but we got to get to the game. So
okay. Do you want to just roll through the rankings real quick? Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Georgia 3, Texas Tech 4, Oregon 5, Ole Miss 6, A&M 7, Oklahoma 8, Alabama 9, Notre Dame 10.
Is there any way Oklahoma will fall out of this? That's my only question. That seems to be the hard cut line. You think Oklahoma's in?
Yeah, they're in. Yeah. Bama's in too.
You don't think because
they said they're not going to devalue conference championship games, and so.
Well, I understand, but could Oklahoma be the one to fall out if Bama loses?
Why would Oklahoma
get
fall out?
Forced into a pod with Notre Dame, Notre Dame and Miami? Like,
if Bama wins,
let's say Bama wins, Oklahoma bumps up. Could Oklahoma drop down to 9 or 10? Like, I wonder if Oklahoma's safe.
No, they beat. No. Yeah.
Okay. So we think Oklahoma's we think at 8, those top 8 are good. 9. And it's real, and we think 9 is probably good at Bama. Although I don't know.
I'm telling you what they're going to do.
Of course they did. They moved Bama up. That's why they protected.
You wanted me to rewrite reality. I'm telling you what's happening. All right. Mm-hmm. You're trying to live in this imaginary world where Bama's not in the playoff. They're in. This is why I didn't want to expand the playoff. Okay. I told you this. All right. I was a prophet. Okay. I told you this would happen. Yeah. All right.
I just want to expand the playoff with fairness. That's all I want.
Yeah. Fairness. What is fairness? There is no fairness. If everyone's super, no one is, to quote The Incredibles.
All right. So Friday night, we've got some conference championships. We do have a big one. We got two big ones Friday night. We
Yeah.
have North Texas and Tulane. I guess the winner of that's in, right? No matter what.
Yeah, we're pretty sure. Yeah.
I mean, I don't envision a scenario where James Madison beats Troy and James Madison steals the American bid. It feels like the American's going to get one bid.
Yeah, because, well,
they're both
I don't
ranked.
know. Because James Madison, right, what is ranked? Isn't JMU ranked higher?
No, Tulane's 20th and North Texas is 24th.
No, JMU is 25. JMU is 25. That's right.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no chance that JMU gets in unless Duke beats Virginia.
Yeah, I think North Texas will still stay above JMU, I would think, in the rankings. If North Texas beats
With the win over Tulane, yeah.
Then I still think they're
because
probably
think about it. North Texas would then have avenged their one loss to Tulane.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So JMU has to win, and they're like, what, 20, 30-point favorites, whatever, on
they will win
Friday night. JMU's only hope is that Duke wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the committee decides, do they want to put a 7-5 team in, which they won't. Nor should they.
Yeah. To be fair, they shouldn't.
No, I'm okay with that.
But I do think to prevent the entire thing from exploding, because this is really just a handshake agreement between the conferences. If they leave Duke out, I think it's pretty much guaranteed they'll put Miami in.
You think they'll automatically? You think?
I think that'll be a trade-off. I don't know if they'll put Miami. If the other scenario,
you
if
think they'll
Duke's
spell out
out,
Notre Dame for that?
They will because Notre Dame. They'll say because the ACC will go nuclear if their team that beat Notre Dame they don't get a team in. The ACC will be fine if they get Virginia in. You know, they get. But this is a handshake agreement between the conferences, and the ACC is one of those conferences, and so. Yeah. I think that's if you're a Miami fan, you're a big Duke fan.
Yeah, probably so. So, all right. Well, those are the games Friday night. So I don't have any real feel. You got a couple others.
I'm excited for North Texas Tulane. If I'm being honest, that's gonna be such a fun game. Both these coaches headed off to new jobs after the end of the season. Explosive offense versus tough defense. I think. Eric Morris, John Sumrall, both really good coaches. I'm excited. I'll be watching that game because it'll help, build a picture for a lot of people on one of the teams, the group of 5 team in the playoff. And so if you're dialed into that game, you'll already be informed on.
Yeah, the last time these teams have played in the last 2 years, it's been a pretty high scoring game. Tulane's won both of them. Actually, Tulane's won 3 in a row. One time these teams have played.
Yeah, Tulane blew them out last time.
No. It was 45-37 last year.
No, this year.
Oh, they didn't play this year.
Yeah, they did.
No, Tulane, North Texas did not play this year.
Wait, who did North Texas lose? North Texas lose to Memphis.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they didn't play this year. Yeah, this was not.
Oh, I thought. Okay, yeah, I guess. No, you're right. It was Memphis, wasn't it?
No. But I want to see Drew Messmaker play. He's done for almost 4,000 yards. Messmaker.
He's awesome.
Yeah. So this will be. If you just Friday night, the weather may be rough here in Virginia, a little cold, maybe a little sleety, snowy. Nice game to sit down and watch. Especially because I don't think the JMU game is going to be very close or good.
Yeah.
But I think it's hard to tell, like with both these coaches going different directions. Summerall was wrapping up Florida's recruiting class today. Sometimes you wonder how much attention these teams are going to get. I don't know in this game, but
I think, at this point of the season, you kind of already have all your schemes, you have your practices, you have your rhythm, and so I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't have a strong lean on this one. What do you have a sense of where this one would go?
I kind of lean Tulane, and the reason is I just think Summerall's defense is going to be solid enough for Messmaker to struggle a little bit. And although I don't really know, I'm going to be honest, I don't really know. I expect lots of points. I lean Tulane.
Yeah.
They've I think been the best group of 5 team.
I thought Tulane was a little sloppy offensively last week, but I think defensively they're always really good. So that's kind of where I tend to lean North Texas in this one. I think Summerall's. I think it's hard this week with Summerall being so tied up in the Florida thing. I think Morris has had a little more time to adjust, and I like North Texas how well they move the ball with that quarterback. I lean North Texas in this one.
Yeah.
And that'd be a pretty big deal for a team, North Texas, to make the college football playoff. That'd be pretty
It'd
exciting.
be huge for them. They hadn't had a sellout game until this year, by the way.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal.
This is huge for them. And they're trying to really double down and make it one of the G5 programs to kind of fill that gap.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, let's talk about
the main event Saturday.
The least interesting game of the day.
The least interesting game of the day. Oh, you mean Miami, Ohio, Western Michigan?
No, Georgia, Alabama.
No.
I mean, I don't care about that game. I really don't.
Well,
and
I know you don't care, but other people care.
Well, I mean, I don't care because it really doesn't. It impacts seeding. I guess that's it.
Yeah. Well, so does the other game.
Well, yeah, but Indiana, Ohio State, they're playing for something. I mean, they're
playing for the SEC championship.
Yeah,
this is Georgia. Georgia has the Alabama monkey on the back. Okay, this is Georgia. They got to avenge. They've lost to Alabama in the SEC championship every time they've played. 4 or 5 times now. This is huge for Georgia. They're going to get up for this, and for Alabama, it's a chance to prove, hey, we are really belong. This is not a fall off from state. We still got the SEC championship. Like. There's a lot on the line for both these teams. Can Kirby finally break through the DeBoer bubble? Can DeBoer continue his first half magic, right? Remember, they played earlier in the season, and Kirby made some great adjustments at halftime that shut down DeBoer's offense. Will those adjustments carry over into the second game? I'm not sure, but I think it'll be interesting to find out.
I think one of the things, and I wish I had some stats. The stats I have are full year stats. I wish I could see like the last month better. I think we've seen a big drop off in Ty Simpson in the last month.
Yeah, it's coincided, I think, with the fact that their running game has kind of dropped off.
Their running game's atrocious. I mean, they're in the 100s out of the 136.
Yeah.
Their running game's terrible. Ty, we saw him last week in person in Auburn. He didn't have a lot of time, but he also just wasn't very accurate. They couldn't complete third down passes. Georgia is playing, and we criticized Georgia early in the year. We didn't think this Georgia team's much better than Bama.
These teams have gone in opposite directions,
and I didn't think we'd see that in September. I thought we'd see the opposite.
Yeah.
Georgia's a complete team right now. They can run the ball, they can pass effectively. They're not in Ohio State passing level, but they pass enough and they're balanced.
Yeah.
Defensively, they're good on both sides, rushing and passing.
They don't have the elite pass rush that they've used to, but their run defense is so good that they can actually drop extra people back in coverage and not worry about it because they have one of the best run defenses in the country.
Yeah, and they don't need to. And you know what? Bama can't even run the ball on the offense side. Bama also has a hard time stopping the run, which I think is going to be a real problem in this game. Bama, surprisingly, out of the group of 68. They're 49th. I mean, they're pretty far down there. To me, when I started looking at all the stats of this game, I'm surprised. I know the magic of Bama over Georgia. This doesn't even feel close to me with this game. I mean,
I agree. I'm leaning Georgia very
I think Georgia wins this game easily. I think Georgia locks up a 3 seed or a 2 seed.
3 seed.
Well, no, they're probably going to be a 2 seed if they win out.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, they're going to be 12-1 in the SEC champion. They're going to jump.
I think it'll because they're not going to discount the conference title game, is what they, So
but Indiana, Ohio State will be 11-1. I mean,
right, but with a conference title loss, I
think they'll swap. I think they'll.
You think?
Swap. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think they will. And
I don't know.
Probably something, but yeah, I just don't. I mean, I started looking through this stuff and looking through the stats. I'm going, I just don't. And again, Georgia has shown times early in the year weakness, but they've continued to get better each week.
Yeah.
So this feels like, and that's why I kind of joke, I'm not really that concerned about this game. I'll have it on.
Georgia's basically only loss was the first half of the Alabama game.
Yes.
And they've struggled in other parts as well, but they've continually gotten better. And honestly, I think something with Georgia that we really underrate is just how good of a football coach Kirby Smart is. Because, people say like, oh, he doesn't have the talent advantage that he used to. He can't stack the classes. Right. But like people forget that this dude is actually like one of the best football coaches alive, in that like his teams continually get better as the season goes by. They get better as the game goes by. He makes season adjustments. He makes halftime adjustments. He's just a good coach. He's good at coaching. And I think he's good at talent development. Like, yes, he brings in all the 5 stars, but he develops them at a higher rate than most of these other places too. And so I think that's something that people kind of forget when they just see like the monster CEO is like, he's also just a dang good football coach. And so, I got Georgia winning this one.
Yeah. Seems pretty clear to me. So, and that's why I worry if Georgia just beats them really badly. That was why I'm going to be sure Alabama's safe. If they get killed,
they're not leaving them out. They're not doing it. But okay, to be fair to your argument, I thought the same thing last year. I thought that they were going to screw SMU, and they didn't. So, maybe you're on to something, but I don't know.
Now, if it's close is one thing, but I think if Georgia beats them bad, I just wonder because I just don't know that Alabama's got a lot of
It is just completely rigged. So I don't know why you have faith they'll do the right thing.
Yeah. No, they won't. They won't. Bama will be in because Bama will be marketing gold for them on their TV contract for ESPN.
And then Bama will lose in the first round to
they'll play
Oklahoma again?
Yeah, they'll play Oklahoma. So it'll just be a rematch of a game where Oklahoma already beat them barely in a game that wasn't very attractive.
Do you think they're not going to avoid rematches?
Oh, I don't think they care about that. They like that matchup.
I think they'd shuffle around the seating or something to avoid a rematch, I think.
I don't know. I don't think you could do a whole lot ahead of them. So I don't know. Reed goes, did the committee say losing the conference game doesn't matter anymore? I think I've gotten mixed signals from this committee. I don't know. This committee is useless.
Here's the dirty little secret. The words don't mean anything. They're just going to put whoever they want, wherever they want. The words are fake. They're just sounds that they put in an order in order to appease people. And so the people tune into ESPN's dumb little show.
Yeah. And I don't know why. See, to me, I don't know why
words mean nothing to them.
If you lose a conference championship game, that should matter, especially if you get beat badly. It should.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember Ohio State won a conference championship very badly in 2014 and jumped some people on conference championship.
Exactly. So it's again because of the brand, they pick who they want.
Yeah, I think that's but the words are just words. They don't mean anything.
Yeah. And that's why I like the Big Ten suggestion and turn these conference championship weekends into play-in weekends for these conferences where these games matter. Whoa. No, I'm serious. Turn them into games where you've got.
They're already play-in games. What are you talking about?
But let's say if you had a 16-team playoff and you had 4 guaranteed SEC slots, give 2 slots to your top 2 teams, and then let 3 play 6 and 4 play 5, and then those games matter this weekend, and then it's automatic. It doesn't. Again, you can make this game means nothing really.
No, what do you mean?
It's just seeding. It's just seeding.
Yeah. So are all the games. What are you talking about?
Well, I don't know. All right, this is a rabbit hole. You and I go down this rabbit hole all the time. Okay. All right, let's get to the other game. All right, let's talk about Charlotte. Now, I toyed with going down to this game. Now let's go to Brigham Young, Texas Tech
too, but
let's go to Brigham Young, Texas Tech. Let's do that.
Okay,
this is the noon game, I think.
All right, I am excited for this game. Now
make the case for BYU, please. Please try to, because I can't get there.
I can't get there either.
I mean, BYU's a good team.
The case,
but I don't think it's a good matchup.
Here's the case: BYU's defense is really solid, and they kept Texas Tech in check for a lot of the game. And Baron Morton throws 3 interceptions, right? And Baron Morton has kind of been their weakness. He's been like the weakest link on that Texas Tech team.
Has he been that weak? He's actually been really good.
Have you watched the games?
Yeah.
They do a lot of.
What else do I do?
Well, I know, but they do a lot of sideline screen passes that help him rack up yards. He's not a great decision maker. If it's schemed open, he can make the pass. He has the arm, right? But his decision making is the weakness, and he does turn the ball over. And so, if BYU played well the first time on defense, they can keep that up. And Baron Morton. I say weakness, like this team isn't an elite team, right? The weakest part, not like he's a better quarterback than most in college football. Clarify. But if BYU's defense holds up, they get some turnovers, they get some short fields. BYU's offense is set up nicely. I think they can maybe keep it with them. But I think the issue with BYU last time is they didn't win the turnover battle, right? The Texas Tech defense terrorized that BYU offense. By the way, I think people are underrating the Texas Tech defense because they're not in the Power 2 conference. This Texas Tech defense is as good as any in the country. They are, aside from Ohio State, I would say this is the best defense in the country. They have they're number one in the country in rush yards allowed. They allow 0 or adjusted rushing EPA. They allow 0 on the ground, basically.
They're elite.
They are elite on the running. And if you can't run and you have to throw, guess who's there waiting? Jacob Rodriguez in that secondary. Okay.
Yeah.
They are an elite defense. Like
I can't wait for
not just good for the big
SEC schools.
Not just good for the Big 12 defense, like elite, like up there with the best defenses in the country.
Yeah.
And because of that, I just don't see why BYU has a chance. BYU, they're not a throw first team. They are a run first team, and then they make the plays off play action. And Bear Buckmeyer can hit those plays off play action, but you got to set up the play action with the run. And he's a running quarterback too. And you just can't run on Texas Tech. Nobody can.
Yeah, and I think the pace of play, Texas Tech just plays so fast. BYU
they play really fast.
I don't think it's just not a good style. The styles make fights. I don't think this works well for BYU. And I think BYU is a good team. I would take if you gave me BYU versus Bama, I think BYU would beat Bama. If you gave them versus Oklahoma, I would take BYU versus Oklahoma.
I think Oklahoma's defense would be too much. I don't think they can.
I don't know. I just don't like this matchup with this Texas Tech team. I think this is not a good matchup. What was the spread on this 12.5? I feel like it's going to get out of it.
I actually agree with you. I made all that case for BYU. That's the case. I think Texas Tech wins and covers pretty easly.
Yeah, I'll probably be getting home from Wegmans or something and getting my groceries and catching part of this. I'm not going to go out of my way to this game could get ugly. So I think the best games of the day are the night games, and we got them all at the same time.
All right. We've got a question in the chat from Reed. Ed, as a Wahoo, my senior, do you have any tips to cope with the inevitable loss on Saturday?
So Reed, this is why I'm not at the game, because I've been living this lie for 40 years.
Because we've been down this road.
I've been down this road. I mean, part of me was like, okay, I can drive down there. Okay, well, maybe I could fly, hotel. Okay, oh no. And I'm like, man, we're going to lose. And then I'm just going to be so mad. And so, yeah, I don't want to believe it, Reed. I don't want to believe it. But let's get to the Virginia Duke game. All right.
Let's talk about Virginia Duke.
We saw this game 3 weeks ago. We saw this game 3 weeks ago. Okay. Virginia went to Duke 3 weeks ago after Virginia was coming off a loss, and nobody believed them. Yep. And Virginia just pounded them. I mean, the yards 540 to 240.
Duke's defense has been bad the second half of the season.
Whose?
Duke. I don't know if you noticed, but their defense is completely fallen off.
So I'm Mr. Negativity here on UVA, but let me read you some stats on UVA, and Reed, you'll appreciate this. UVA's defense in the second half of the season, 13.5 first downs per game allowed. That's third in the country. 264 yards a game, number 6 in the country. 1.5 touchdowns a game, 9 in the country. Only 98 rushing yards per game, 12 in the country. I mean, Virginia's defense has been great the last half of the season. Not good, great. So I'm struggling with, I watched Darian Minson. He threw for 213 last time, threw for 1 touchdown. Virginia kept him in check. Chandler Morris threw for 300 yards against Duke. What has changed in 3 weeks? Other than that, we're going to a neutral field. It's going to be a little colder.
Well, what's changed is both teams have got an opportunity to see the other team's best effort and get film and scheme on that. But
I don't know that what is Duke going to do differently to change? I mean, I don't know that Virginia.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm not that deep into it, but
I don't know. I think defensively, Virginia has been so good and steady the second half. I just don't know how Duke is going to overcome that. Again, Reed, I agree with you. I don't know how. I don't have tips to cope with this loss. Heavy drinking, eggnog this time of year. Get that. You can just load up the Jack Daniels in the eggnog. That covers it a little bit. I mean, that's maybe a suggestion. We encourage responsible. Don't drink and drive, though. Encourage to drink out of your own home. Paper bag would be nice. But I just think it's the Duke defense. They may be able to score. Duke may be able to score some, but I think Virginia is going to score enough. I think see this like a 30 to 20 game.
Here's the thing. I am scared because I agree with you. Yeah. And that makes me nervous because I actually think that Virginia is going to win this game. Like I actually, it's not just like fan copium, like, oh, I believe. Like I actually, logic part of me is like, yeah, they should win this game.
Virginia's not great at anything, but they're not bad at anything either.
Yeah.
Duke is bad defensively. Their passing defense is terrible. Their rushing defense isn't much better. So I struggle, and we just saw this 3 weeks ago. I don't know how this changes. Again, the part of me is going to be like, oh, we're going to lose. But no, I think it's.
I also think for the first time in human history, Virginia might get the benefit of the doubt on calls because the ACC might be trying to avoid the doomsday scenario.
It might be. You're right.
So for the first time in human history, the refs might actually be with Virginia.
Yeah. You're right, Reed. I'm with you. I don't care if we go to Ole Miss and lose by 50 if we just win the playoffs.
If we go to Ole Miss, we will lose by 50. That Ole Miss team is motivated.
You know my theory. I sent it to you guys earlier in the week. If we play, I want Oklahoma or Ole Miss if I get a playoff game because I think those are winnable games.
Right. I want Oklahoma.
I don't want Ole Miss.
I do not want to fight a pissed off Lane Kiffin-less Ole Miss team at home in Oxford.
That team is in disarray, Jake. That team's in disarray.
They are galvanized. They're not in disarray. They got their offensive coordinator back. Charlie Weiss.
Pete Golding can't put 3 words together. I'm telling you what.
Pete Golding can't talk, but he can coach.
Okay. What I don't want to see is, we're putting a cart before the horse here. I don't want to go to Oregon. I don't want to go to Texas Tech. I don't want to go to who are the others? There's a few that I would want to avoid like the plague. I don't want to go to Texas A&M, Oregon, or Texas Tech.
Well, and so you don't want Bama to win because then you risk going to Georgia.
Yeah. There's a few places I don't want to go, but that's beside the point. Getting in. Virginia, win the ACC. Take your shot now. Get it done. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But this game's going on at the same time, so I'm definitely going to have the 2 screens up. I'll have this one, and then we'll have the same time as the game of the year, which, of course, College Game Day is not going to it because, heaven forbid, they actually show up at the best game of the day.
The best game of the whole dang season, which is the matchup of juggernauts, classic blue bloods of college football, the greatest teams, undefeated, number 1 Ohio State versus undefeated number 2 Indiana Hoosiers, baby. Coach Sig and the Hoosiers. What are your you take this one first? What are your thoughts going into this game? Because I have a bunch.
These are the best 2 scoring defenses in the country. They're the 2 best rushing defense, a couple of the best rushing defenses in the country. The difference is, and obviously passing defense, Ohio State's the best in the country of all the metrics. Indiana's isn't bad. It's a notch below, but it's still pretty good. To me, it's going to be we watched that Michigan game last week, and I think the biggest difference was Bo Jackson for Ohio State was able to rush a little bit. And once you if Ohio State's able to establish the rush, you're doomed. You're doomed because because then you got to start worrying about that, and you start opening the receivers. I think Indiana has to control the rush. If they can control the rush and make Ohio State at least a little one-dimensional on the passing side, they have a chance. But if they can't control that line of scrimmage, and we saw last year's game when these guys played, Ohio State controlled the line of scrimmage early, often it was over. They have got to figure out a way to control that line of scrimmage early and stay in that game to make it a game on a neutral field. If they can do that early, I think there's a chance. But I think that's what I'm watching for early. Can Ohio State establish that line of scrimmage, especially offensively, run the ball, and then that opens up Jeremiah Smith and Cardell Tate and everybody else.
Yeah, and the thing people have to realize is this is not last year's Indiana team that was weak at the line of scrimmage.
They're better.
They're much better at the lines of scrimmage.
Yeah.
They got corners that can actually cover Ohio State receivers. D'Angelo Pons, Louis Moore. Like they've got dudes in the secondary that can actually cover Ohio State's receivers, to the degree that you can cover Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
And Ohio State obviously has, they have Caleb Downs and that their defense is the best in the country statistically. But I think Indiana's defense is also one of the best in the country. And
it's great.
It is. And these are the two best teams in the country by far. There's no comparison. Both undefeated. I think you got the two Heisman candidates. The winner of this wins the Heisman. This is the Heisman play-in game, by the way. The winner of this game wins the Heisman, pretty definitively. And yeah, I lean. I hate to do this, but I lean Ohio State.
It's hard not to pick against them.
It's hard to pick against Ohio State because I love Indiana. I love Fernando Mendoza. I love, everything that they got going on there. Roman Hemby, all those receivers, those big, tall dudes. I lean Ohio State. I think they have too much talent on the receiver position. And I actually think Indiana will be able to stop the run of Ohio State. And I think Ohio State will be able to stop the ground game of Indiana. I think the difference of this game is going to be, honestly, it's going to come down to the receivers. And I just think that as good as Indiana's receivers are and as good as Fernando Mendoza is, I think Ohio State has the best player in the country on offense and the best player in the country on defense.
Yeah.
And that's Caleb Downs and that's Jeremiah Smith. And I just don't think that Indiana can overcome that despite being, elite all over the board. And most teams, I don't know if they can overcome it. However, good quarterback play can, erase a lot of things. And if Fernando Mendoza has the Heisman game of his life, it's very possible Indiana wins this. This is not I think that Indiana has a much better chance of beating Ohio State than BYU has of beating Texas Tech.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So the one thing that if you're trying to make a case for Indiana, it's Ohio State.
Spread's not that much. What's the spread now?
4.5.
Right. You don't even have to make it's not that outlandish. Like they're good.
If you're Indiana, what you have to hope for is that maybe you get a turnover or two that helps. But particularly, Ohio State hasn't been challenged at all this year. Indiana's been in a couple games where they've had to go in the fourth quarter. And you just wonder, with Julian saying, as good as he's been, what happens when he's got to make those plays late in the fourth?
Right. And
will he be able to do it automatically?
I think what a pressure point you might be able to exploit if you're Indiana is if you can get pressure on him, which is hard because they have a good O-line. The only time Sayin was really pressured was like the first half of the Washington game and the Texas game. And in both of those situations, he was just good, not great, like he's been every other time. And if you can get him down from great to good and your guy Mendoza is playing great, you can win this game.
Yeah.
And they don't need like a crazy, 2 fumble recoveries and a pick six and touchdown return. Like they don't need that to win. They just need to be a little bit better.
Just a little bit better.
Just a little bit better.
They got to get this game to the fourth quarter though. They can't lose it early in the first half.
I think I agree with that.
Echoes of the past will creep in
if you start letting Caleb Downs play free in the backfield, like if you're like, oh, he doesn't have to worry about the run because you guys are catching up, and he starts running around at the pass, then you can get in trouble.
Yeah. So no, this will be an exciting game. This is what we're all looking forward to. We'll have both these games up. It'll be a nice cold night here in Central Virginia, and I'm gonna have Virginia. I'll be ready to celebrate, or I'll be ready to drink my eggnog with Reed if we need to. So
yes. All right. Do you want to run through National Signing Day real quick? That was today.
Man, we're almost at an hour. Do you want to save that to next week?
All right, we can talk about that next week.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with it. You're the big Nick when it comes to recruiting. I could care less. A bunch of guys sign. Half of them will be bums anyway. Then
half of them will be great though.
Yeah, whatever. So,
all right, we will. We'll get to recruiting next week. I'm sure we'll find time with it in between. College football playoff preview.
Yeah, we will do that. But we'll have time. We'll have time to do that.
Okay.
We'll have time to do some recruiting.
All right.
Yeah, let the class settle out, and then we'll get there. So
okay. And you're right, it is a 3-day period, so technically it's not over yet.
It's not over yet.
Most people signed today, but some people pushed it to Friday.
Of course they did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in live. Make sure to like and subscribe if you made it this far, and join us live. And you can ask questions in the chat. And
Wahoo wah, baby.
Wahoo wah, baby. And have a good night.